Hi, everybody. Sandy here, Fridays with Sandy. Our beloved leader, John Byrne, is still touring vineyards in Italy, but we've got a very exciting candidate. He is from the auto industry. He currently works for GM, which is a good place to work for since business schools don't get many people from auto companies, and a lot of cases deal with auto companies. Okay, so Mr. Candidate, could you just briefly introduce yourself and let's take a look at you and hear you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Apurv. Hi, everyone. And as Sandy mentioned, my whole background is in auto industry, and I'm looking forward to joining an MBA program.
Good. Okay, let's go through the fundamentals. Where'd you go to college?
I started my undergrad in India in NIT Allahabad, known as Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology.
Okay. Now, just between me, you, and our listeners, India has these schools that have the IITs and the NITs, and the NITs are very distinguished, but they're just a little bit in terms of status below the IITs. Have I got this right?
Yeah, you have got it right. If you don't
This is
make it to
something
an
you can't
IIT,
read anywhere, but this is what everybody knows, right?
yeah, that's entirely correct. And NITs are like the second step to it. It's like the
Yeah,
second
but
thing.
it's still very good.
Yeah.
And then you had what was your here? Okay, here, this is what makes it interesting. What was your GPA there?
It was 2.9 on a 4 scale.
Yeah, okay. Is that as bad as it sounds? Did you have a class rank?
I don't have a exact last rank, but I was like somewhere just above average.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
in the top tier. Yeah.
At most U.S. colleges, a 2.9 is, boy, you've got to be in the infirmary with alcohol intoxication to get a 2.9.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question becomes, can an Indian male techie with a 2.9 get into Harvard Business School? And my first answer would be, I don't think so. But in your case, let's build the counter case. Let's start with your GMAT. Took the GRE, and what were your scores?
Yeah, I think so. My GRE was 168 in quant and 164 in verbal, which comes down to 332 out of
Which
340.
is a GMAT equivalent of 740, 750.
Yeah.
Okay, so that buys you a lot of pie. And then you went to the Michigan Technological University for an MS in mechanical engineering. And what was your GPA there?
Yeah, it was 3.9.
Okay, so what we got here is a guy who did a total turnaround from undergraduate school with a 2.9 and then got a 3.9 in graduate school. And then you've got this real gift to the schools is that you work for General Motors. So tell me what your job is now and what you do.
Yeah, so basically I'm working as an advanced technological work specialist in General Motors, where my job is to brainstorm new ideas that can be introduced into the new EV portfolio and the self-driving vehicles. And
wait a minute, let me slow down here.
Yep.
You work at General Motors, that's good. You're at some fancy research part of General Motors, right?
Yeah.
That's good and bad. They're impressed with how recherche it is. On the other hand, you're not managing tons of people, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you're kind of in an internal GM think tank. Is that a fair way to do it?
Yeah, think tank, but yeah, I also manage project, and in that I have people management, as I mentioned. Yeah, but
okay,
it's
well,
not
yeah. So I'm sorry,
manager.
you're better than a think tank. You're a project manager, which is what business schools fantasize about creating on the road to being an executive. But you're doing really exciting stuff. What kind of work you're doing, like self-driving cars, and what kind of projects have you been involved in?
Yeah, so I can just give a overview of what projects I'm doing. So uh, think about like self-driving vehicles, and then you would imagine like if you are driving on a highway at like 100 kph and suddenly you have a flat tire, then you know how to behave as a human, but what does an autonomous vehicle do in that scenarios?
So you're
So
trying to figure out what a self-driving vehicle would do with a flat tire.
yeah, and then the new things like what kind, so you need better sensors,
You're a part of that
new
program
sensors.
that says stay away from Sandy.
No.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's wild, but I'll take your word for it. Just as a digression here, what's the future of self-driving vehicles? I mean, is this the comic books, or is this going to happen anytime soon?
Well, you can see them right now, right? Like you have self-driving vehicles driving in cities like San Francisco, in
You can
Arizona,
self-driving vehicles driving where?
in San Francisco.
Really?
San,
Is that
yeah.
like on
So
the
it's like,
regular roads, or is that
yes,
like a special project?
on the regular road. So if you just look up for a company called Cruise, which is owned by GM, so fully owned by, like it's owned by GM, and they are doing the autonomous vehicles for GM. So you can see that they are driving these vehicles on road where you can book them and you can have a ride in them. So there are like tons of videos. So, and even in Arizona, you have Waymo, Google doing it, and a lot of these tech companies and OEMs creating the self-driving vehicles that are on current roads with all the crazy drivers we have out there.
Wow. In Massachusetts, we've got self-driving vehicles. They're known as Massachusetts drivers, who are usually behind the wheel and talking to people in the back seat, or drinking a beer and listening to a Red Sox game. But Massachusetts drivers are known for being some of the worst in the world. They're proud of that reputation. But moving right along, Zowie. Okay, let's summarize. You're 31 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that's the outer edge of okay. After that, people start thinking this is executive MBA program. But
Yeah.
I think there's a cohort of 31-year-olds at most major business schools. So you'd be in like, the top 10% of old people, which is fine. Someone's got to do it. You're in this auto space, which is great. Which is great. Self-driving vehicles, GM, business schools love that profile, really. Your only boo-boo is the 2.9 GPA from from the NIT in India. They're going to have to swallow that. And as I think I told you in the pre-show, if you got into Harvard Business School, and you may, my guess is you'd be the Indian, the Desi at Harvard Business School with the lowest GPA. Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
think. But someone's got to be it, and that could be a badge of honor. And we said, I don't know if we mentioned this on the record, people from your part of GM with operational experience, they don't usually go to 2-year business schools full time, right?
Yeah, that's not the standard part. That's
Let's
not the
make it
standard
clear.
part.
The answer is they do not usually
Yeah,
do it.
they do not. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's correct.
So that would make you, I'm going to call that a plus. You might have some explaining to do, but that would be a real plus. Okay, drum roll, please. I'm thinking you're even with the 2.9, which is really hard to swallow. but it was a long time ago, and you've got the 3.9 in your graduate degree, man, I think your chances of getting interviewed at Harvard are pretty darn good. I think they're like 50%. You're just an interesting case. They would blink at the GPA. You'd be a little old, but they'd blink at that. The GM thing is terrific. The 740, answers a lot of questions about whether you can do the work. So I'm thinking your chances at Harvard and Wharton are, boy, they're pretty good. Certainly your chances of getting interviewed, and then it's just a matter of not blowing the interview, which happens to a lot of people. At Stanford, at Sloan might gag a little more about the GPA. They're just a little less forgiving about it. They're maybe a little more obsessed about the magazine rankings.
Yeah.
And they would love you. I mean, you're kind of a Sloan type. At Stanford, to get into Stanford, is that your first choice or one of your first choices?
My first choice is Harvard. Yeah.
Oh, the first choice is Harvard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stanford's going to be hard. It's smaller, and there's no X factor. Usually, Stanford requires something extraordinary. It could be that you've done a great, volunteer work. What does your volunteer extracurricular resume look like?
Yeah, it's not amazing. I'm a board member of Diversity and Inclusion Board at GM. So that's
something. That could be a plus. I think Stanford, I often say this, I could be wrong. They're going to find some guy like you with just better stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But maybe not. You're really impressive. So Stanford, maybe. I think your chances at HBS and Wharton are real solid, even with the 2.9. And what other schools are you interested in?
Yeah, I just want to apply to top 5. That's what I'm targeting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think your chances. What do you consider the other two? In the top?
Yeah.
Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, and what?
And I thought Sloan, Harvard, Stanford, Wharton,
Sloan. Yeah.
Yeah. And the 5th one, I'm undecided, to be honest. Yeah.
Well,
because
how important is it to go to business school for you? I mean, how low would you go? Just as a theoretical question.
I like low as in
terms of rankings, would you go to a school that's ranked 10 through 15 on US News?
No, that won't serve my purpose. I don't think so.
What job do you want after business school?
Yeah, after business school, I want to be a consultant.
I take it, the big 3, like Bain, McKinsey, and BCG.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be a good rounding for you. You're someone with very specialized experience, terrific specialized experience. That would be a great placement. And then what do you see the future after that?
Yeah. So my ultimate goal is I want a seat at the table. I want to increase my impact. So I want a leadership role, basically. That's what I'm looking for in my future.
Yeah, you mentioned that in one of your forms to us that your goal was a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, although I know what you mean, and it's okay in conversation. Here's a question I always ask, and nobody can come up with an answer. Name someone whose job you want. in 25 years.
Yeah, I want Mary Barra's job. Like she's the CEO of GM. Mary Barra. She's the
Well,
first
yeah, no
female
sense
CEO.
in hey, think big, man. Okay, I get it. You want to be the CEO of a large corporate firm. You don't want to be no consultant, right?
Yeah.
So but consulting is a good
Yes, I
resume
want to use that
item.
as a springboard. Yeah, I
What's
want to
that?
use the consult. I'm saying I want to use the consultant role as a springboard, right? To
Springboard, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's what.
what job would you want after 2 years of consulting?
Yeah, I want to return to the core again as an executive, right? As a director or I don't know.
Do you know people who followed that? Is that a roadmap that other people have followed?
Yeah, I have seen like a couple of people in my industry, in automobile, in power, those who have done that, who were in automobile, went to a top 5 business school, and then got the executive role. And it's yet to
No,
be
no,
seen
no.
if they
It's
are,
top five
yeah,
business school and then went to consulting
consultant. Yeah, then went to
and
consulting. Yeah,
then went back to the industry.
yeah, then went back to the industry. But yeah, that's what I have
Well,
seen.
that's you, my man. You're a good example of that. Just, I hope the 2.9, you're the guy who's going to overcome it, man. As I
Yeah,
noted, you're going to be the Desi at Harvard Business School with the lowest GPA.
yeah,
Maybe in recorded history. Good luck, but it could happen. I'm not teasing you. Okay.
yeah, yeah. If it happens, that would be great. I would be really
Well,
happy.
just everything else is so solid and it's such on a straight line. And you've got great experience. You've worked your way up. You really know the auto industry. Uh, you're a pretty rare character in that way. So that's all good. So I think your chances are pretty solid of getting. I think your chances of being interviewed at Harvard are pretty good. And then it's just
Yeah,
a matter of not
having a
blowing the interview.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That makes sense.
but let's take it a step at a time. It's been great talking to you. You've got a real interesting story, and you're a valued part of our handicapping portfolio. Okay.
Yeah,
Have a great
thanks.
weekend, and I'll
Yeah,
see you.